We are live.
Good morning. Good morning.
No, we don't sing that song, dude. It's not like you're your grandparent and
It
it's
is, though. It
1975.
is. It's romper room.
Right. And people, I have a feeling that when people sing that song when they see you in the morning, they're hiding a deep dark secret.
Oh, well, you want to talk a little bit more about that, Rob?
No, it's your deep dark secrets, not mine. I'm not
Oh,
singing that song. I'm not even saying the words. Let's see who's here. Who I want to know
I
why
see.
you're. I want to know. Do you have this on? Are you retired? Do you not have a job? I know you teach. So what are you doing now? Grading assignments while you listen or watch? Um, I think you're in a foreign country. See, this is how much I know about you guys. I think you might be in a foreign country, and it might be the afternoon for you. Richard James is in a community room at the facility, and they just flip it on. I don't know what John Howard might be up to. I think he's 2 hours ahead of me. Right, John? I don't have any knowledge there. AZ Mix always free. It's not. Here's the saying: it's not an official live stream unless AZ Mick has appeared. That's the
Is he
truth.
here?
Yeah, he's right there.
Excellent.
Right, and I don't know what's going on. This is a pit stop for Paul in between going to record stores. Hey, Paul, I saw. So maybe you know some about this, Jim. I saw a little blurb that Music Direct is having a warehouse sale of all used records. How do they have used records? Do they buy collections?
They might have. Chad does.
Well, but so they're having a warehouse sale where you can go in and fill up a box full of records for $20 or something weird.
Where's the warehouse?
Chicago. I know Paul's not in Chicago, but it's not. I would imagine he could go for that. I know this guy is Chauncey goes to dentist's office not to get dental work. He just likes waiting in the waiting room. I don't know what time in Irish land it is. Are they 9 hours ahead? Is it late evening? Have you just finished dinner? Corned beef and cabbage? He's here in between Lansing Boyles, right? Easy now. This guy teaches too. So I don't know. I'm way behind. Joan, hello, Joan. I'm not going to make any assumptions about you. Chuck T is a vending machine addict, so he's waiting them to fill the vending machines. So
Marcus, huh?
let's go down to the bottom. Oh, well, there you go. What's the Zappa one?
We're not supposed to mention.
You know what?
Today.
I have no agenda. I never really have an agenda when I come up here. I just feel like let the conversation happen naturally. But whoever wants to talk about whatever. So I'm sure this dude right here will talk about whatever he wants to talk about.
Do you think the Music Direct sale are the returns that people sent back for MoFi for the lawsuit?
Well,
those butthurt people?
There's no way. There's no way in hell that they would sell a MoFi record for $5. I don't.
I didn't know. I didn't hear the $5 part.
No, it's like I think I'm vaguely remembering the ad
because they were selling MoFis, the used MoFis.
I just don't know how they acquire used records.
Well, people die, and then they get their collection.
Sometimes they don't even die, and they get their collections too.
True. That's true. Apparently, Easy Street just got a big collection of some stuff.
Well, I'm sure they'll overprice it.
I think there's a lot of great collections.
They sell the records.
Well, okay. So I don't know how this works, but when you're on a record island, literally. They're the only game in town. They're one of the better record stores as far as what they have there.
Well, they're not on an island. They're not the only game in town. Believe me.
Well, in West Seattle, where is there another record store?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, West Seattle, like from where I am, it's the second closest store to me over about a dozen stores.
Okay, so
it just depends.
Here's the deal. Okay,
I mean, it's like you go into.
Here's the scenario of Easy Street, because I've been there several times, and my friends used to live in West Seattle. Easy Street is in a great location for lots of reasons.
It's a neighborhood.
It's so in LA here's one misconception people I don't think know about LA. LA is really a bunch of communities saddled together. Why don't you sit on that? So
I'm just waking up.
So you have these central areas where all the shops and restaurants are, and you can walk down the street. Here in Santa Monica, we have two of those places. We have two. We have three. There's the tourist area, like 3rd Street Promenade, and that's mainly tourist. But there are two separate areas in Santa Monica where you can walk up and down with shops and restaurants. There's a high-end area, and there's a regular area. That kind of saddles up to Venice. Venice has a place, Abbot Kinney. You can do that there.
Yeah.
Pasadena, on Colorado, all over LA. So in West Seattle is like that.
Yeah.
So if you're out and about, you go to a restaurant, you go to have a beer, Easy Street's there, the only record store, and you can walk in and buy records. And they have the best part of Easy Street is that diner. They have
a diner for lunch and breakfast diner. And it's
I've only been there really for breakfast. Really for breakfast.
And they have a bar.
They used to have like 2 or 3 stores. They used to have more stores.
They used to have one over on Mercer in an old Tower Records location.
Right.
Yeah, it's a neighborhood though, because most record stores in Seattle, well, that's not totally true, but a lot of record stores usually, because of cheaper rent, they don't go in neighborhoods where you walk around. You have to like too many records or
those primo spots. That's primo location.
Yeah, definitely. It's a neighborhood. It's people walk and live in that neighborhood.
There are a lot of stores that look like they're grandfathered into the rent in West
Some
Seattle.
of them. I mean, they're starting to turn over a little bit, like everything else. Gentrification.
Like there's stores on West Seattle where you walk in and go, "Who buys shit here?"
West Seattle's a very family-oriented area.
From my knowledge of West Seattle, it used to be where people retired to, and then all those people kind of died off, and it became people would move there, knock down the house, and build up
it's changed. It's it's a
higher,
desirable place. I mean, unfortunately, the bridge closed down for 2 years, and it's a free bridge for 2 years. Luckily, it happened before the pandemic. They found cracks and things, and took them 2 years to get it together to repair it, but it's like a peninsula, so it's not an island. So you could go, but instead of taking me from here, I can get there in 15 minutes I can get there. And
it's the only place in Seattle that has a beach.
Yes, Alki Beach.
Yes.
And has beautiful views back to downtown, the Space Needle, and the whole the stadiums, all that. Yeah. It's lovely. It's great. I like it. That's where Coffee Julie has 2 of her cafes in West Seattle.
Hey, Rich, there's 2 things I'd like you to do. First, change your avatar. There's nothing about you that says Ace of Spades. Nothing. Secondly, have you ever posted a general inquisitive or just general comment? Without trying to attack.
Can I answer Rich's question though?
Yeah. I was gonna pass that to you.
No, he doesn't use his VC fame to squeeze the stores. He uses his association with me to squeeze the stores.
There's at least 2 stores who go, I'll give you the gym discount.
You don't do the Mazzy Entourage discount?
You know what? It's interesting, Mazzy. In Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't
people like Rich. It's funny. If I ever met rich. I would expect him to look like Lemmy. It's so funny when you see these little icon things.
Hey, Kimbo, what's not true about the beach part? Where's the other beach? And
yeah, where's
where, now? Where do you? You're an Adonis, Kimbo. Where do you go lay out if it's not Alki Beach?
But there are places like you can go the lakeside. You can go to the lake, but it's not a beach really. But you can go into the lake. Lincoln Park.
Is that a beach?
Kind of, yeah. Matthews Beach is Matthews Beach the one there?
I'm talking here, Kimbo. Work with me. I grew up going to Ocean City, Maryland. People went on vacation, huge beach. You go lay out, you go in the water. There's lifeguards. That is, and people visit Seattle to visit and go do beach stuff like build sandcastles, play volleyball, have little fires. That's Alki Beach. That's a beach.
Yeah, but people don't come to Seattle. It's not like, oh, we're going to go to the beach and we're going to go to Seattle.
But when they hear there's a beach on the water, they go there.
The problem is,
it's a good place.
I was in Seattle in July and it rained.
Yeah,
it rained.
That's like San Francisco. It depends, you know. I mean, however, there's about 4 months that it's usually in the 80s into the 90s now here, and it's about like all summer. It's about 20 degrees warmer than San Francisco. San Francisco gets foggy and stuff in the summertime, like August.
San Francisco is like
well, that's
winter in the summer.
But San Francisco has great year-round weather. I mean, it's never freezing.
No, that's not true.
Oh, it's totally true. I mean,
that's not when it's foggy in San Francisco. Is that great weather?
But it's moderate weather. Like if it hits the 40s, that's cold. It hardly ever hits the 40s. It's usually 50s low.
Right.
So that's moderate, right? You might have 5 days, 8 days a year, it hits the 90s. You could have if you have a heat spell, it lasts 2 days at 90s, and then literally it'll drop down to the 50s and fog will come in the next day. So, but Seattle is more stable in the summer. I mean, it can rain, of course, but Seattle has colder winters than San Francisco. It doesn't get that cold in San Francisco. It gets foggy and windy like Chicago.
I've never been on a pair of rollerblades in my life. I've been on ice skates. I've been roller skates twice. I've never been on ice skates.
Yeah,
never been on rollerblades. So go make up another.
Yeah, you know, we again with Seattle and San Francisco, you don't have muggy weather. You hardly ever do. You have nice weather. You got clean air for the most part, unless when the fires were happening a few years ago from Canada, Oregon, California. That's why I call it the green. It's the evergreen. You know, it's really green here.
Except there was, I remember,
Emerald City.
You had, at least in the last 20 years, 2 really severe droughts up there.
Yeah. Well, not compared to California, but yeah.
No, I mean, everything was brown and there was fire starting.
Before my time. They had fires.
No, there was not that long ago. I remember there was a big golf tournament at one of those things, and the golfers were playing and a fire happened right on the course. It was a big fire too.
Well, weed is legal here, Ricks. I mean, come on. I mean, that's been, you know, it's so surprising that
even when weed wasn't legal, everyone in the Pacific Northwest was getting
of course. It's so funny that legal weed happened in Washington State before California. You know, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado before California.
It isn't. It shows you how people think California is one big liberal bastion. It is not.
No way
in hell. There are probably more conservative people in California than in most red states. That's the misconception. So the delay on legalization of marijuana, and they fucked it up because they let the cities decide if weed's legal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So medical marijuana you could pretty much get, I think, everywhere. But California is not some sort of liberal bastion. Even where Jim lives, not far from me, that whole area, my feeling is it's kind of conservative.
There are 2 people on my street that felt the need to erect permanent flagpoles in their front fucking yard, like we're at a library or something like that. Permanent fucking flagpoles, you know. Also, even cities like Los Angeles in general are nowhere near as liberal or whatever
No,
as
you go
East
to.
Coast cities.
Hey, look, people like I worked in Hollywood for 30 years. Just go read the credits of a movie that no one ever does, and the thousands and thousands of people that work on movies. They're not all liberal people. Trust me.
When I worked at the LA Weekly and I was trying to put adult advertising into the back of the LA Weekly, similar to what they were doing in New York with the Village Voice, I could not go anywhere near as far as they could in New York in the Voice. I just couldn't, you know, they just wouldn't let me. You know, I wasn't allowed to take ads for S&M, no S&M ads. And it was during AIDS, and S&M is kind of like technically safe sex because there's no bodily fluids being swapped.
S&M's dirty shit.
But I'm just saying, Los Angeles is
you're
much
used
more
to it because it's the act of humiliation. That's what S&M is, everyone.
I don't know.
I'm not speaking from experience.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
There we go.
Do you really need a flagpole?
Hold on. Novice
flagpole. Here's the problem. I was a Cub Scout. I got a badge in flag etiquette. You don't need a goddamn flagpole permanent in your front yard. You better have a light on it, and you better not let it get ratty. That's my story. I just think there's a lot of not flag etiquette going on, and I got a badge in flag etiquette.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Novice Nick, you haven't been around here in a while, and we don't need to hear about your erections. I got there. Thank you.
I have a little flag that I bring out on the 4th of July, and I put on my front porch, and
I grew up
flag day and all that kind of shit. And then I roll it up and I bring it back in.
I grew up with people putting flags up all the time, but you had a little thing that you put the pole in every time a flag needed to be hung. All right.
It's just there's a lot of flag etiquette that people don't. They act like they're patriots or whatever, but they don't know. I like the guys in the trucks with the ratty flags.
Go down to Huntington Beach in Orange County, which Orange County generally was the conservative outpost in LA area. Go down there, man.
They just don't believe. They just don't believe in the Constitution, the actual Constitution. You know.
Oh, I think it's just, you know, everyone looks at things differently, and blah, blah.
Good morning, Mr. Cruz.
Good morning.
Good morning, Elliot.
Happy Festival of Weeks to my 3 friends there.
Festival of what?
See, we don't know. We don't know what you're talking about.
Festival of what?
Festival of Weeks.
Leaks.
Is this a Jewish? Is it your Jewish?
WEEKS. It's a Jewish.
We don't know it.
Who's it? Tisha B'Av? Simchas Torah?
Is it
hold on. Elliot, you come in here. We're culturally Jewish, not religiously.
Did you build a huppah?
My father knows all that shit.
I know huppahs. You put them up for weddings and shit.
I would think you guys would know this just from your childhood.
Hey Siri, when is Sukkot?
No, this is my favorite. I want to hear Elliot say, "Hey Bessie, y'all going to shul for Sukkot?"
Hey Siri, when is the Jewish holiday Sukkot?
I'm going to tell you something, Elliot, because again, I am from the South. People don't think I'm from the South, but I am. But when I went down to college to Richmond, Virginia, which has a good-sized Jewish population, I went down there, not for college. Actually, I went to an event while I was in high school, and we were at this Jewish youth organization thing, and some Jewish people came up with some Southern accents, and it just blew my mind.
Well, I need to make a pilgrimage one day to Wheeling, West Virginia.
Folks, it's 50 days after Passover.
Oh,
that's a Jewish holiday. I don't know the Hebrew word for it, but it translates to the Festival of Weeks, and it celebrates the first fruits of the harvest, recognizing and also recognizes Moses coming down from Mount Sinai, bringing the 10 Commandments. America's just got to teach you guys this. Oh my gosh, guys!
It's Shavuos. It's
I mean, none of the commandments say anything about the right to bear arms.
Hey,
no, it's Shavuos.
Hey, actually, someone messaged me, Elliot, and I did not know this. There was concern over your dog. So what's going on with that?
Chester, I had to carry Chester to the ER yesterday evening. We spent about 4 or 5 hours there. He's a little bit better today, but he's real worried about him. He got real lethargic. He's got wasn't eating or drinking. He's got real high levels his liver levels. There's 4 panels they do on the liver. 3 of the 4 were sky high. So we're not sure if it's an infection or if it's cancer or what it is. He's on some medications now, and we'll check his levels again. You know, he is struggling right now.
All right. How old is Chester?
Chester's 9.
9. That's young. That's not old for a dog.
Large dog, yeah, you would think about 11 or 12 was about their life.
What kind of dog?
He's a mutt, but he's more Labrador Retriever than anything.
Yeah, Jim doesn't pay attention whenever you're on screen with your dog, Elliot.
Yeah, well, Chester is mad at me because when I rearranged the room, I got out one of the 2 couches in here to make more room for records and stuff. And the old couch I got out was his couch. He laid on that couch when he came down here. Now he doesn't have a couch to lay on, and he has been pissed off at me ever since.
Yeah, I would think so.
He doesn't come down.
Well, some of us are always in Chester's camp when it comes to that.
Yeah,
be pissed off at you, Elliot.
I know you were talking yesterday a little bit about static and anti-static guns and Stylus cleaners, and I picked this up the other day. And I just wanted to get some feedback from you guys to see what you thought of it. You know, you never quite know whether it's a scam or what, but it's
I don't use any of that. So I'm an amateur with it.
Oh, I have one of those, Elliot.
The Hudson Hi-Fi.
It's not a
drop
scam.
here and then turn it on, and
it vibrates off the dust on your stylus. Yeah.
So I mean,
you got to make
work good. I don't know whether it works better than. There's so many options.
You have an MC card, an M cart, right?
MM, yeah.
Music Matter. That's probably good because some MC carts you can't use those on. It depends.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, you got the gel that you dip it in. You got the Mr. Clean.
You can just use your tube of lube.
Oh, yeah. Now here's my experience with cleaning the stylus. My general go-to is the brush, right?
Right.
You go from in to out. You don't go out to in. You go in to out.
Yeah,
right? So that's my go-to. Yeah. When that doesn't feel like it cleaned it, I somehow through my travels through the internet, there's this gel pad that drummers use. I don't know what they use it for, but people recommended that, and I use that
to dampen the sound of the brain on the drum.
And then I got the similar thing that Elliot has, and when the stylus, I feel I'm not getting the dirt off, I kind of spray a little stuff on that and vibrate the dust off.
There was this is the Hudson Bay.
Yeah, I have that one.
The Hudson Hi-Fi.
It goes $25 sometimes on Amazon.
Yeah, $26 is what I paid for it, I believe.
Yeah.
But Humming Guru has one that's ultrasonic, but they want $125 or so for that. So
Jim,
I'm wondering
if that one, right?
If it's that much better.
You have
cartridges.
I have the one I haven't opened yet that I can't.
I have an Ortofon cartridge and I have a Hannah cartridge.
But okay, there was controversy a few years ago on these gel type things, and apparently there's certain good ones and not. You got to use them sparingly. And even my turntable guru here at Hawthorne uses this, and I think maybe even Fremer. I could be wrong. I don't want to misquote him. This is DS Audio, and this is, I forgot how much this is. Probably $30, $40. I don't remember. It's basically a little gel pad, right?
Right.
And you do it 3 times in 3 different. You drop it 3 times, your lever down, and just don't move it around. Just when the turntable is not moving, obviously, and you do it in 3 different spots. Because sometimes I find, especially with the micro stylus on my Umami, on my Hannah, sometimes you can't get that. There's always that one piece of hanging dust you can't get with the brush. Sometimes it just, this sort of helps, but not always. Also, you can use a magic eraser, but again, sparingly.
But is that abrasive? Is that abrasive?
If you're going moving around, yeah. If you just kind of go in and you want something that holds on to the little thing and pulls up.
Can you rub that magic eraser on yourself?
No. I erased my goatee actually with this.
Yeah.
I don't shave. I use this.
I use this in the morning, every
brush
morning.
Is not always enough, Manfred. Sometimes a brush can't get that, especially on an MC card, MC stylus.
Well, I can tell you this. I have Ortofon cartridges, and they recommend not using any liquid when you clean. Just use a dry brush.
Yeah, this isn't a liquid, but it is a. Yeah.
Don't
You're
use
gonna hypnotize me, Rob. Hypnotize me. The least do the least you can do to get the best effect. I think is probably the best rule of thumb. They even make one now. Some people sell the ones that look like fingernail polish. When you unscrew it and it's got a little brush on it, and you brush it. It seems like you're adding something to the stylus instead of getting rid of it.
That's why. Remember, I still have my original 1975 disc washer with the red fluid. I've never opened the fluid, and I still have the whole bottle. I just use the brush. I used to use that brush. I don't use it anymore. I use a Mark. What's it called? Mark something, Mark IV or something. That's the brush that my guy said this is the best brush to use, and get some of the static off a little bit. But that disc washer liquid, you're trying to get shit out of your records, not put stuff on.
Right.
So putting liquid on.
And for 30 years, I would take that dishwasher. I would take that fluid and put 3 drops, and then I would take the bottom of the fluid bottle and roll it across it so it went all the way across at one end, hold it on there for at least 1 rotation, and then do like that to dry it back off. Every one of my records, every time I played a record. So I put all kinds of stuff on it back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. But
I think there are a couple. I think there's 2 or 3 records I have that I used it way back in the 70s, and literally you can see the marks. I had to wash them again, obviously, the Humming Guru, but you can see like this one someone used liquid on, either myself or someone else.
Hey guys, remember our discussion about when you kept saying, Elliot, you don't know about an ultrasound because you don't have one.
Now he's got one.
Oh, wait. I thought you wanted to get the one from me. You don't want that anymore?
Did they send you one?
I asked you, and you said, I got somebody else that looks like they want it. So
is that
okay. No problem.
Those people keep wanting to send me.
What'd you get?
Velmer or Velvo or Volva? What is it called?
Yeah, everybody and their brother got one of those.
DIY.
I said thank you, but no thank you.
Von Vor.
Yeah, they keep
every other VC member in the community got one to review. I didn't get one. I didn't have enough subscribers, I guess. They didn't send me one, but I purchased one because
it's not that expensive.
I got it for $155. I could have got it a little bit cheaper, but I got it through Amazon because I wanted to be able, if I wasn't happy with it, or if it didn't work right, if there was a problem, I wanted to be able to just pack that sucker back up and go to the Staples and say, here, send this back to Amazon and just get my money back. I've used it a little bit and I like it. It's good, but I still have to feel it's important to do my pre-wash pre-clean
My
before I go in there, and then rinse it again with my record cleaning machine. Rinse it afterwards because I am using some surfactant in the tank.
now I had that for about a year and a half. My big issue with it is the amount of water you have to use in it, because use a fraction in the Humming Guru.
Yeah.
But here's one thing in retrospect I did not do. I highly recommend, if you have one of those DIY ultrasonics, they're called, is create some sort of way of filtering your water to reuse it.
Yeah.
So, and you need to use sort of a filter that you would use in a fish tank, because you can buy those big. But I really highly recommend you concoct some way of filtering your water to reuse it. That's what I did not do. And you go through so much water because they don't make it shallow. And the device you use to lower the records in typically can't go low enough.
I'm able to. They may have worked out the kinks since you got yours a couple years ago. Yeah. It goes all the way as deep as it needs to go. This is a 6-liter tank, but here's a little bit of a misconception about that 6 liters. To fill it up to clean records, it is not 6 liters of volume of distilled water. It's only 4.5 liters. So, which is 1.2 gallons. It would be nice if it would take 1 gallon, if a tank would take 1 gallon. So all you got to do is pour 1 gallon in there each time. But you have to pour 1 gallon.
You're dirtying, but the problem is you're dirtying a gallon of the water. And around here, it's about $1.50 for a gallon of distilled
same
water.
Here.
Yeah.
Same don't let anyone know that I said that you could put a drop or two of alcohol in the water, just to not the first day, but if you go to a second day with the same water, put a little alcohol.
Well, I'm cleaning these records that I'm using the ultrasonic with. I'm cleaning them first using my regular method, the first step, using the Liquinox and rinsing them. So they're going into the ultrasonic clean.
How about this, Elliot? I have a great idea for a video on your channel.
Okay.
In between the obnoxious parody ones and whatever. Okay, so here's the deal. I would like you to play a record unclean. Would like you to clean the record just in your ultrasonic.
Right.
Play it, and then go through your crazy over-researched way you cleaned records before.
Well, actually, now that you mention it, Rob, I do have a video where I took 5 problem records that I had cleaned using my methods, including the additional acid wash clean, which is reported to be the equivalent of an ultrasonic clean on a problem record. And I cleaned those records. They were problem records. They were older records that had a lot of issues. And I had cleaned them recently. And then I recorded, I wrote down, I took the first and the third track on both sides of each record. And I wrote down what I heard. Pops here, a little surface noise here, crackle halfway through here, things like that. Took notes like that. And then I put them through the ultrasonic clean and then played those tracks again to compare. So I actually done something similar to what you suggested.
Let me ask you, Ellie. I was going to do it with an accent, but even though my mom is from Wheeling, West Virginia, I was going to do an accent. But I bet you have a creek down by a pond down near you. Now, you need to go subscribe and watch to Esky Knows. Amy yesterday showed us man how to really clean a record in yesterday's video. Did you see this video yesterday?
I missed that one.
I cut off the sound.
Yeah.
You know what? That's bullshit, man. That
I
is
hope
total
someone
bullshit.
pushes her in the water.
Look at that creek. You need to get down into the LA motherfucking river in order to get it really clean. You put that shit in the.
Actually, it was a funny opening. It's only her third video.
She looked like Ellie Mae down there cleaning.
Yeah, Ellie Mae Clamp It.
What you don't see,
that's
is upriver. There's carcasses of dead animals, and all that tainted water is coming out on those.
Yeah,
records.
Rev did it first, but half the people now weren't born when Rev did it.
True. But I'm having fun with it. I'm cleaning in both ways.
Is it working? Are your records sounding better?
Well, okay. I think now I found no difference.
I thought this was going to be a yes, no, but okay, go on.
I found no difference when I was hoping that the Ultrasonic would take those problem records that I had cleaned and improve them a little bit, but really no difference. And it's probably because those records had groove damage, and that was the main culprit.
Right.
They would never be.
Nothing's going to fix that.
But I also said, well, is it possible? And as some of you have tried to suggest to me, is it possible that by using the Ultrasonic, I can achieve a level of greater clarity in the music, more detail, a blacker bottom or background, that sort of thing. So I cleaned some each way. I put this record on, just a common.
Oh, you know what?
Actually, very good record.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So Chad did a video a year or two ago about cheap records that are audiophile. That is one of them.
Is that right?
I got a copy of it, and it's an amazing sounding record.
Yeah.
Actually, I have an extra, if anyone's interested, I have an extra copy of that record.
This is the debut album from Pure Prairie League with
How Did It Clean Up?
Craig Fuller on it. Excellent album. I played this. This was clean with the Ultrasonic, and it sounded fabulous. I said, wow, maybe there's something to this.
Well, it's an audiophile quality record.
And then I took I was going back and forth, and I took one of the records I'd cleaned with my original way, but not with the acid wash, just my original normal cleaning. And I played this Rounder record, and this is Dry Branch Fire Squad, an excellent bluegrass band. And guess what? The clarity was amazing on this. The background was black. It sounded great.
So cleaning your records works. That's awesome.
My answer is inconclusive. Yeah. Inconclusive.
Hey, I do have a news. Were you here yesterday or the last couple of days? You haven't been around, have you?
I watched after the fact.
Well, I don't know if you noticed. Kraft just announced in the summer or fall, maybe it's July, I forgot. They're doing another Tony Rice record. They're doing an instrumental record. So
it's not summer or fall. It comes out next month.
I've already ordered it. Yeah.
Okay.
I got it pre-ordered. Which one is it? The Stream.
Right. That's good that they're doing those.
He does a bunch of jazz covers on this album.
They're also what is it called? Go Be Gone or Go Daddy Records or whatever it is. That's not it.
Not only does Harry hate new music, he seems to hate bluegrass. That's too
great. Well,
hold on, Harry, can you stop interrupting us while Elliot's trying to talk?
What's considered the greatest bluegrass album of all time is known by its catalog number, 0044, the J.D. Crowe in the New South album with Ricky Skaggs, Tony Rice, J.D. Crowe, obviously, and Jerry Douglas. They're doing there's a reissue of that great album that's come out, and that will give me 3 copies of that album now. But
there is that one album that even Steve Hoffman says it's one of the best things to test out and set your speakers up to. It's that not Tut Taylor. It's like the Newgrass jazzy record with
it's that Norman Blake.
Yeah.
It's Vassar Clemens is on it, I believe.
Dave Holland, I showed it on a video recently.
Dave Holland, the jazz bassist, is on it. It's a really good album as well. Yes.
I tell you, it's not an expensive record. If you
No.
guys, Rob, if you ever see this record,
Hold on.
Blow it up.
buy this record.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'll share the link right now. I'll find where you can get it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can buy used copies. I mean, still used copies will be $20, $15, whatever.
Tell them the name of it, Mazzy.
Okay, it is called Norman Blake. It's just called Norman Blake, Tut Taylor, Sam Bush, Butch Robbins, Vassar Clements, David Holland, Jethro Burns, and it's on. Is it on Rounder or is it on?
I think Flying Fish, isn't it?
Flying Fish, yeah. It's 1975. It's Flying Fish Records, 1975.
Well, hold on. It was on a lot of it's originally HD.
Originally Flying Fish.
Originally HDS.
No.
Okay, so Discogs, can you delete your whole website, please?
Yes. I remember when it came out. My friend Vernon turned me on to it. We played it in the store. It's an amazing sounding. It's amazing record. It's an amazing record. And
Jethro Burns is one of the interesting characters in music. If any of you remember, and you have to go way, way back, that Jethro Burns was part of a comedy team, corny country comedy team.
The guy who did this?
It's not Burns and Allen.
No.
Hold on.
I don't know why I can't
on
call it
HDS Records originally, then eventually issued on Flying Fish. Okay.
Okay.
And everyone send your cards and letters to Mazzy at Mazzy P.O. Box, Mazzy Street, Mazzy, USA.
But Jethro Burns was that real corny comedy team, part of that comedy team for years, and that's probably what he's best known for. But he's actually an amazing jazz mandolin player. He plays jazz mandolin, and if you listen to those Steve Goodman records, he lived in Chicago like Steve Goodman. He played with Steve Goodman a lot. If you listen to Steve Goodman's records, you'll hear some nice mandolin work on his solo records as well.
Hey, Elliot. So I was streaming the Tony Rice record that's coming out, and the person who kind of steals the record to me is the guy playing mandolin on it.
Is it David Grisman? Who is it? Who's playing mandolin?
I don't know. I would have to look it up off the top of my head.
Here's my stereo AB record. Side one of this.
Yeah.
Stuart Copeland's soundtrack to Rumblefish. Side one of this is very interesting. That's what I use to AB records. Go check it out. You can bet. I paid 29 cents for that. They're up to about $3.99 now. It's a good record. But I've never listened to side two.
That's a song on there.
It's got "Don't Box Me In" with Stewart.
Blackboard lacks a piece of chalk.
Okay, right. It's called the Tony Rice's Backwater.
Backwater, yeah.
Bernie.
Backwaters.
Hold on, Elliot. Rich has a question which I don't know is real or not.
Kevin Gray.
Well, go. I'm going to be serious with you, and Jim and I will probably see this dude tomorrow. By the way, if you're in Southern California, there's an audio show down in Santa Ana,
Costa Mesa,
which is the same place.
Hey, what's happening?
To answer his question, I would say yes. A couple of things you could do with the Ultrasonic. If you run it in the water too long, I think you stand a chance of damaging it. And if you run it with too high heat, you stand a chance of damaging it. How much of a chance, how often that may come up, I don't know. Well, but I wouldn't
if you want to know though,
and B, I wouldn't run it more than 10 minutes.
Well, you brought up hold on, you didn't bring this point up, and one thing I found when I had that DYI is that
you have to go to traffic school for
that?
They take your license away?
No, I'm gonna have the police. Can someone swat Mazzy right now, please? The one thing with that is those often have a heating feature on it. Never turn that heating feature on. Even after several uses of that machine, the ultrasonic power on those DYI is stronger than the Humming Guru. I can't speak to the higher M ones. But when you use that, it heats up. And the water temperature in those DIY gets hotter. So that would probably be an issue. But getting back to Rich's question, and I'm not joking, Charles Kermis, there's a million videos on YouTube of him. And I brought a record to him that he actually made sound better through his magic voodoo that he does.
I don't trust him, though. I don't trust him.
Here's the thing about it. The thing about it is that it absolutely works. And it works, and it doesn't damage your records. And you don't even need his machine to do it. All you need to do
the solution in the brush.
Just get solution in the brush, and you give your record a 5 minutes in the ultrasonic. His is an actual ultrasonic, not like, I don't think Hum and Guru is an actual ultrasonic, but anyway,
it is
okay. But at any rate, you do 5 minutes, and then you do the magic. You rub the shit all over it. You do 5 minutes and you rub the shit all over it. The only thing it'll do, Elliot, is it'll noticeably make a difference. I've done it a million times. I've had people give me records where there's like an invisible like oil or something on it. And I have the Kermis, I have the Hum and Guru, I have the one, just the regular one with the brush where you put all the shit on it. The I can't remember what it's called.
Well, I am not a scientist.
Exactly. I can do it 9 different ways. Go look at what. Wait, go look at what Mr. What's his name has to say.
Charles.
No, I'm not a scientist.
No, not Charles.
I can tell you. I can tell you something. What I just stated. The Humming Guru doesn't overheat. It's a lower level ultrasonic.
Yeah.
And my feeling is you need that DIY heats up so much.
Well,
probably a temp in records. Here's a little tip, guys. Heat is not good for vinyl records. Okay. So any damage that an ultrasonic could do, in my mind, would be from overheating the water. That could affect the grooves.
So a good idea, Rob, if I can inject here.
Put an ice cube in it.
No, just have a external thermometer that you can put in and check to make sure what it's reading is accurate. And then if it's not, yes, turn that heat off for sure.
So anyway, if you do a little investigation, Elliot, and look at what what's his name has to say on Tracking Angle about it. Fremer. Go check out what Fremer has to say about the Kermis method, and that's it for me.
But
I've watched his video.
That review is from a while ago.
His video.
Fremer's.
You've watched Fremer's video about the Kermis?
No, yeah, because here's the deal with Fremer.
It works.
This is my interpretation of Fremer. He does a video where he touts something highly, but years later, his mind has changed, but he doesn't,
But that was the opposite with the way it worked with Fremer was he was skeptical, and then years later he was like, okay, this fucking thing works.
Yeah, but I think I remember seeing Fremer recently kind of back.
No, if you look, you got it.
If that Jim, if that guy, Kermis guy, is correct, he has gone about it the totally wrong way to promote his product. Because he comes off as
defending that. Oh no, I'm not defending that at all. Yeah. I would not. I
just don't trust him.
The thing of it is, in spite of that, unfortunately, in spite of him being a weirdo, the fucking thing works.
Elliot, as someone who actually interviewed him for a half hour.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw that.
Okay, I did it twice. I talked to him for long periods of time twice. He does what you need to do with a product like that. And he goes out and spends hours.
The other thing I want to explain to you, Elliot,
Jim, let me finish. Please. He spends hours at these events showing people how his product works. And and you can bring a record to him where he can prove it to you because you know that record and you know what it sounds like. So, I mean, I can't doubt what he was able to come up with as a product and how he sells it, because I don't see anyone else doing shit like that.
Well,
also, can I just interrupt?
He plays
my last
loose.
thing. Elliot, when it comes to being a weirdo, when I look around me right now, the only people that I can say that aren't fucking weirdos are you and me. And you know what, Elliot? I ain't so sure about you.
I'm not either. I'm not either.
Oh, wait. Elliot, can I ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely.
When you and your close people say, we need something sweet, let's get some cake, do you refer to a brownie as cake?
No.
It's a piece of cake.
Dan B. Fremmer has enough technical knowledge. He knows a shitload about turntables. So he's not scientific, but he knows enough about the setup, cartridge alignment, everything about turntables, the mechanics, enough not to build them, design them, but he knows a lot. Like an auto mechanic doesn't necessarily know how to build a car. Some do. So Fremmer knows a lot. I mean, whatever you think of him, he's been doing.
I don't think he's an expert on cleaning records, though.
Well, he has an opinion like everyone else.
He may not be an expert
He's
on
more of an
records,
expert than any of us.
He has cleaned more records.
I think I'm more of an expert on cleaning records than Fremmer is.
Okay.
Can I listen, Rich? And I really appreciate you being serious for at least 10 minutes straight. It seems to me common sense. I don't know anyone, as someone who's actively cleaned his records for 3 years with an ultrasonic, I don't clean when I clean them once, that generally is enough for that record.
Yeah.
And typically, I'm not ultrasonic cleaning it for more than 30 seconds to maybe a minute or two, and then it dries it. So I understand whatever science thing you're reading, but no one I know over cleans a record in an ultrasonic. They usually tend to do it once or twice. To see they get the dirt out of it.
Fremmer has nice gear and inexpensive gear.
Also, Rick's,
but he
your
does
gear is fucking esoteric.
I'm going to act like Rob now, but
no, Rick's
he does do a lot of.
He
does review normal. He doesn't review Crosley's, but he'll review a $1,500 turntable, which is considered like a Riga P3 or a P6. He'll review those things and cartridges that are $300. Yeah. So you have to look for this stuff. Yeah, people you go to those audio shows and you see all this $100,000 up rigs, but there's a lot of stuff. You see $1,000 speakers, and
Here's the deal, and I want people to get on my bandwagon, and I might become an activist about this one particular subject that Fremmer does not. If Fremmer is such a proponent of vinyl and he wants everyone to listen on vinyl, he should get his ass in gear and demand that these audio companies come out with a turntable or a setup that's affordable for young people to get into the hobby.
Right.
There are some.
Hold on, Mazzy. He, to me, has if I'm interested in getting into vinyl, I'm going to go on YouTube and watch videos to educate myself.
Yeah.
I don't know that Fremmer's ever done a video directed towards young people getting into the hobby.
Maybe not.
No,
but not
you know what? Until he does that, he's no friend to vinyl.
No, not every writer, YouTuber, reviewer has to do everything. I mean, like Darko does. 90% of the stuff Darko does is digital and streaming and things. He'll do some turntable stuff. So you don't go him for an overview of all turntables. But Audio-Technica makes a turntable, I think it's like $300, $350, which is an excellent turntable, which now that's a lot for some people, but at some point, vinyl's not a cheap hobby. You can find a used turntable.
A total setup for, let's say, somebody that's getting out of college or getting out of high school and they've got their first real job, their adult job, they need to be able to go to a store and buy a turntable, speakers, and an amp for under, say, $700 or $800. If you could do that, they would save their money
do
for
it used.
months
You
and
can
go get
definitely do
something.
it.
Yeah, but
And it's
what
got to be
you
high
two are
quality.
doing, Elliot, what you two are doing is just common sense.
Yeah.
But generally, what's going to sustain this hobby into the next generation is someone actively making products
That's
that are
what I'm
brand
saying.
new, that allows people. And
Well-
here, let me pause for a second. Baggy, share the link if he has. Don't just say he has. This is the art of fighting with me.
I think people
Which
have
I
to
thought you were
realize
good at.
vinyl is not a cheap hobby. That's it. So if you're going in expected to be cheap, you're not going in the right thing.
Yeah,
I
but
will,
is it more
I will
expensive than buying
defend.
sneakers,
I will
Mazzy?
defend. Wait a second. I will defend not the entry level, but the Crosleys that are the tabletop. They're like the old dance sets that use diamonds. I think Audio Technical Stylus or cartridge, whatever they use, are actually pretty good starting points for people. They're not going to ruin your records, all that bullshit. People like to dump on Crosleys. The suitcase models, the really shitty ones, are terrible, but they make one that's about $350. That is a good starting point. And I have a handful of younger friends that started with those Crosley record players. And it's a good place to start to see if they even like the hobby.
Yeah. Can I say something real quick? Interject.
No.
A month ago, Michael Fremer. There's a video posted where Michael Fremer at Axpona does an interview about how high-end audio can be affordable. It's got 10,000 views from a month ago. I emailed you a link to it. I don't know how to put it here because
Post it
it's
here?
all wrong.
To answer,
But anyway, I emailed you the link. So
Rick,
it was
wait a second. I'm going to be Rob.
10,000
Fuck you,
views.
Rick. What do you mean, no, Mazzy? There's some Crosleys that are good starting turntables. If that's what you're saying no about, you say no, but you don't say no to what you're referring to.
I would never tell Rex to fuck himself, Mazzy.
Well,
Scott said what's considered affordable. I would say affordable for a young person would be somewhere between a third and a half of the rent for a month in the apartment or house they're staying in.
It depends
So
where
if
you're
they're
living.
paying $2,500 a month for their renting their house, I'd say something around $1,000. I'd call that an affordable price. Something you'd have to save for. You couldn't just go out and buy with your first paycheck, but something you could put a little bit of money each month away, and in 6 months or a year, go out and get you a decent setup, a stereo. How's that sound? About a half a month's rent.
But okay, I think you historically have always done this, Elliot, because your best friend is a roll of duct tape. You've always been like, I'm gonna tinker with this and make it a good thing.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
not the guy. I'm very surprised. It's very unbecoming of you that you even bought that DIY.
For $300, you can get this Crosley system with speakers. Okay,
Yeah.
$300. It has Audio Technica cartridge. It's a good starting point. A college dorm, a kid's bedroom.
Yeah, but
It's not gonna destroy your records. It's a starting point.
Okay, Mazzy, you've been to a good number of audio shows, right?
Yeah.
How many did Crosley make an appearance at?
None, and that's not their audience.
But again, this is really my point, Mazzy.
But the kids don't go to those either.
No, hold on.
It's the wrong audience, Rob.
Well, let me finish my take, and you can critique it. You know who goes to them and who are at them? The sellers, the direct sellers to the consumer. So if someone has a good, cheap, entry-level turntable that everyone agrees upon, will be great. I understand that, Mazzy, but maybe the tone arm is not weighted properly, and there are cheap things you could do to make that better.
Of course.
But here's what I want. And my demand is that the audio people and the whole group of them decide, look, we need to get young people into the hobby. This all started with a conversation with the guy Meyer, who owns the audio salon, who sells top of the line shit. But he's saying to me, these people are dying. I need younger people. And look, Mazzy, younger people is not 25-year-olds.
No,
Younger people. I mean, I had records through my 20s and 30s, but not the way I do now. Younger people will say like 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds. When you become serious, have a real job, and decide you want to spend money on entertainment stuff and get into audio, they're not gearing their marketing, their products to that group of people. So we're not talking like an 18-year-old, Mazzy. What you just showed is fine for them, right?
But it's fine for anyone who's starting out on a cheap budget. A lot of people don't want to spend $1,000 or so to start out a hobby they're not sure they're going to continue with, right? It's like if you play golf, if you play anything, you might start with some cheap. Now, if you have the money and you're well-to-do and you want to buy $5,000 plus golf clubs, all the power to you.
Yeah, but typically, Mazzy, that golf is a good example. I understand people get into it young and stuff, but someone, when they become an established person and decides to take up golf, they're not 25 years old. They're not under 25. They're probably in their 30s. So all I'm saying is this hobby, to be taken seriously by a hobbyist, is good starting around that period.
Crosley sells more record players in the United States than any other company. And I would say, a lot of those people, a lot of those people will fall off and quit the hobby. Right. But a number of those people will continue and say, now I want something better. And they'll go get a Riga or they'll go get something else.
Okay. We can agree. There are a ton of decent, cheap turntables. There are. Right. There's a ton of them. Under 300, 400, 500, whatever price point you want. There's a ton of them. I bought my first system in my bedroom in 1969 when I was 13. I got $500 from my bar mitzvah and I bought a complete system for $500. 13 years old. Today, that's $4,000.
Yeah.
That's $4,000.
Hold on. What was the system? What brand was it?
It was a brand that was pretty good, but it became pro.
Mine was about that. Mine was a Sherwood receiver.
It was. I'm blanking on. They're not in business anymore, but they were. I had a Girard turntable, a plastic.
But Jim, back in 1969, 1971, 1970, when I got theirs, you weren't competing with free. You weren't competing with streaming. You weren't competing with computers.
No, of course not. This was your only choice.
So that was our only choice. If you wanted a record player,
today,
no CDs.
Here's what's weird about today. Today, there are more companies making turntables than there were in the 70s when we listened to records, number one. And number two, even though there's us, when you look at the numbers, records are tiny, man. It's not like there's a lot. If you go to one of these audio shows, the audio show tomorrow, more than half of the rooms won't even have a record player. Right. They're streaming.
They're streaming. Yeah.
And more than half of the kids today don't give a shit about record player. They're streaming. Right. You want to go audiophile streaming.
Yeah,
I know.
Jim, the other day, Fremer on Westman Stream did a bunch of pet peeves about people complaining in the world, which is kind of funny. And one of the things is when you compare, the price of a record today, inflation, it's about equal, maybe a little more, but about equal. But the one thing he didn't mention, and people don't take into consideration, back in the mid 70s when it was that price, they were pressing hundreds of thousands and millions of records, and that was your only option. Now you're competing with free.
You either had the radio or a record player.
Right. Streaming is relatively free. So it's not only that the inflation thing, but record is such. Most people don't even know that people buy records still.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is stream. And for $150, $200 a year, you can stream millions of songs, which is basically free as far as I'm concerned. So So that's the other price variant.
Everything is more disposable these days in people's minds because streaming is disposable. Yeah, you've got that record.
You don't own this
until somebody pulls that license. and says, no, we're not going to license this to whatever service
Well,
you got.
let's be real about streaming, okay? Because everyone acts like it is the hurdle for people collecting physical media. I do not see it that way. To me, streaming is a means of convenience. I don't have a record player in my car. When I go out and exercise, and I do go out and exercise, Mazzy, I put headphones on and I stream. So to me, it's a means of convenience. When I get home, I choose to listen to my music on vinyl. So getting back to it, streaming is not a hobby. Streaming music is not a hobby. Okay? The parallel to make properly is what young people are doing with their disposable income as a hobby. Are they collecting Funko Pops? Are they collecting trading cards, comic books? Are they buying movies? There is a means of comparison that young people are taking disposable income and collecting stuff, because that's really what it is. And no one thus far, you're making a comparison to other ways of music, and that's not the way to do it, because I don't think it's equal.
It's not equal. But that's what the competition is. Most people.
No, it isn't, Mazzy. It is not the competition.
It totally. Kids still like music.
Mazzy, choosing to stream music is not the competition to collecting vinyl. It is not. It is
no. Okay, you're talking about two different things.
No, I'm not. I'm talking exactly about what we do.
Let me respond then. It's not the competition. It's not the competition of collecting vinyl. It's a competition of listening to music in a different way.
Listening versus collecting.
Exactly. Listen versus collecting. No. My son loves music, and I have this big record collection. I bought a couple. He doesn't have a turntable. He listens to headphones. He's on his computer, does animation, does digital work, and he listens to music all day, all night, and it's all from streaming services and that. And he loves music, and he wouldn't even consider right now going out and buying records, partly because of the price and partly because of the room. He doesn't need it. He sees me. He sees my collection, and he'll have this someday maybe. But
okay,
that's the competition. He has an option now.
I'm going to ask you a question and be honest.
Yeah.
Does your son collect something?
Yes.
What does he collect?
He collects video game stuff and animal stuff.
In my understanding, it is not a cheap hobby, video games.
Well, he collects. Yeah, no.
Okay, so Mazzy, here's the difference.
He's not buying new video games.
Do you buy every single record that comes out?
No.
Okay, so you are not. But if you had the opportunity to stream songs that come out, you would do it, right?
Yeah, I have Apple Music in my car too.
It is a matter of convenience. It is two separate things. Your son, you're acting like your son, his choice is about, I listen to music, I should listen on vinyl, I should listen on CDs.
He doesn't need to own it.
That's not his decision. That's not what it's about. His choice is to collect video game shit. Mazzy, your choice is to collect vinyl and listen to it. So that's
the
really
music's first, and I like the format is the vinyl format. He likes music, and he chooses to, and he plays it through. He plays it through computer speakers.
I think it's more. I think Rob's really on to something here. I think it's more.
Elliot, you have a standing invitation to come up here at any time.
I think it's more what hobby do we pick? Because people, if your hobby is hunting, you're going to spend all your disposable income on getting all that hunting gear you want, going on all those hunting trips. You're not going to go to the record fair that Saturday. You're going to go duck hunting. If your hobby is skiing, then you're going to be planning your trips to the ski resorts. You're going to be buying the best gear for skiing. If your hobby is fishing, then you're going to be obsessed with fly fishing or with bass fishing. And your dream is going to be ultimately to buy that great bass boat. just as
Elliot,
our
Elliot,
dream might be to
could
buy
you
that
use a
great studio.
comparison of something that
Elliot,
people
go
in the
on.
deep south don't do?
Skiing,
What if it's
They
pike
water
fishing?
ski.
true. They snow ski too, but that's everybody. Doesn't everybody hunt though, Rob?
Well, here,
Doesn't
So,
every area have a lot
I've
of
never been
hunters in
hunted.
it?
but can people understand that there are tons of hobbies that if we sat here and talked about the amount of money that's poured into these hobbies, you can parallel that into collecting vinyl. You can.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
Mazzy has said this over the last while. I'm not about getting the perfect copy. I already have it. But that I can name thousands of streams that people come up here and talk. I can tell you recently I upgraded a copy of a record because I found a better version of the record. That's a hobby thing. That is not a music thing. It's a hobby thing.
Well,
Nah.
as the resident millennial on the panel,
Okay.
I got to say the vast majority of people my age I know that collect records, they probably have one cubby full. I would say they have 50 to 100 records. Most of them have either the Audio-Technica 60 turntable or the Audio-Technica 120 turntable. They think vinyl sounds cool. They're not really interested in setup or anything like that. They have the idea of having a record collection because the physical side of collecting is now a niche, and they think they can take part in that the same way you collect anything else.
Now, as a victim of your suggestions, Michael, which I'm sure you're with your age group, which generally you're pretty sparse with the people you're friends with. They're very, wouldn't call you a standard millennial, and you're highly educated on what you're talking about, and you do it professionally. But I would say someone who has a Crosley and has 50 records, they're not a hobbyist. They're not. They have them.
They still spend money at record stores.
Yeah, but I understand that. But I would, if I pressed you to talk about the particular person maybe you're thinking of, they have a hobby that they actively are a hobbyist in. They do. Their records is
probably.
not their I'm talking about comparing this to going to Michael's and collecting and making crafts, and that's
My
their
wife
hobby.
collects shit yard art.
Right. How much now, honestly, your wife is going to cheap places, Jim, but would you say your wife's antiquing is the amount of money spent is equal to what you spend as your vinyl hobby?
Probably.
Okay, so this is an area no one's talking about. My brilliant mind came up with it this morning. All I'm saying is this is the way we should, because I had a conversation with a friend last night who's very doom and gloom. The vinyl industry's in a tank. I see the sales data, and I go, "You're not looking at this correctly," because my professional experience is wired about doing what the people are asking to do, surveying people, find out what they're doing. This is a hobby. Everyone listens to music. I don't know one person who doesn't listen to music. It's not their hobby. It's not their hobby. It's a different thing.
I know. I don't
disagree with any of that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I just think that we're sort of like
it's unanimous. I win.
We're a little tiny subculture of, and we're getting smaller and smaller.
Rob, I don't know. I don't think I knew anyone. Well, this is partially accurate, not totally. In the 70s, in the heyday of when vinyl was massive, I don't remember anyone looking for pressing. They did, however, they wanted British pressings because British pressings, UK and German, were considered better pressings. We didn't know about tapes, about original tapes. We didn't know about matrix, all that's dead wax. Nobody talked about who cut what. Nobody knew any of that stuff. But it wasn't really, unless like you're a Beatle collector or a Stones collector where you wanted the different covers. I bought all those different Beatle pressings, not because of the sound of them, because Japanese had a different cover package and UK
that's a hobby. That's a hobby thing. That's
not a music
right.
But
it's like
the music was first.
Edition.
That was the only band I'd never had. I don't think I ever had a multiple of any record aside from the Beatles until a dozen years ago, ever. You know, maybe I had a European copy of Rolling Stones Aftermath or something like that, but I never had multi copies of anything. This whole fucking
Mazzy,
hobby.
Mazzy, how many copies of Revolver do you have?
Oh, I said Beatles. I did. I probably
No,
have
I'm
20.
asking a specific question.
20.
How many?
Maybe 20.
Okay, that's a hobby thing. That's not a music thing.
It's a I'm a Beatle collector. Yes.
So,
And I'm a
Mazzy,
Zappa collector.
let me ask you a question.
So
Okay,
what?
when you were as a 15, 18-year-old buying records, friends you had, what other hobbies would you make a comparison to that they were doing at the time?
Nothing, because all my friends were into music and records.
Baseball
They played an instrument, they played guitar. They didn't buy a bunch of guitars. They got one guitar, a drum set.
Playing music is a hobby, not collecting hobby, but it's a hobby.
Played music. I mean, I had a few friends.
Most people that play an instrument do not have any chance of being a professional addict.
I understand that. It's a hobby. Yeah.
I mean, most people
have friends who collected
play music professionally have a day job.
I had friends who collected baseball cards.
I had a lot of baseball card collecting friends, comic books.
Yeah. Comic books. Yeah.
Action figures, models. I knew a lot of guys who built models.
I built models, but then I blew them up.
You just did it to sniff the glue, Jim.
Yeah. That, and we would place firecrackers in the models and blow them up.
Hey, Munson, I don't
want to sell that. That.
That's VG Plus. I don't know. I ordered this again, so yeah, I'll probably sell one of them.
Did you buy that from Dizzy? No.
So John Reichman, you were talking about the mandolin player. You really like the mandolin player on here, Rob?
Yeah.
John Reichman. John Reichman is the mandolin that's on here. And he's I'm not really that familiar with him.
Isn't Richard Green on that too? Richard Green from C Train and Blues Project.
Yeah. Green is on here. Richard Green's on here. Fred Carpenter's on the violin. Also, Wyatt Rice. Wyatt is Tony's brother. He's playing guitar on here. Todd Phillips, who plays a lot of jazz and a lot of bluegrass, is the upright bass player on here. And of course, Tony Rice playing the guitar.
But I streamed it. Excellent record, and they're doing a lot of jazz songs.
He wrote all but one of the songs. Tony did.
No. There's two. My favorite things he did not write.
Yeah, two. Yeah,
and
he does my favorite thing.
Dolphin Street.
Yeah, who did on Green Dolphin Street?
Everybody. It was like a jazz standard. Everyone.
That's what I'm trying to think who I remember doing that though. But yeah,
Bill Evans. Bill Evans.
That's it. Bill Evans. So I'm talking about. Yeah. So two non-originals. The rest are songs he wrote. It was during his jazz period.
I collect these. I collect this. Copies of this record.
Actually, I think you showed me that one.
Not only does Jim collect that, he also collects body parts.
I have 7. I have 7 different ones.
I had 8, but I lost one.
Why would anybody not collect
different ones in terms of different covers?
Did I ever tell y'all about how Mac Davis was being called out by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young?
You have this one.
Yes.
This one. This one. One of them sealed. That's all.
I really, at this moment, I really hope a pig goes on a tirade and tramples someone to death.
There is a great Everything is Terrible, which is like this YouTube channel and Instagram.
That's awesome channel. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And they compile like old VHS release stuff. I mean, I remember them from I remember them from back when I was in high school, their YouTube channel first getting started. But one thing they did early on was they tried to collect as many copies of Jerry Maguire on VHS as they could. They made an email address called "Send Us Your Jerrys."
Yeah,
and they set up a fake store, a fake video store, where the only thing they sold was copies of Jerry Maguire, and they made like a king's throne out of the Jerry Maguire VHS tapes.
That's what those guys.
I like that. That's like conceptual art performance thing. I like that.
That's what's going on here.
I've got 2 copies of Ice Castles now.
You saw that? Did you watch?
Jeremy.
Did you watch the In Groove Me release thing today?
Yes.
Yeah, I
a
did
little,
actually.
about
Well, I
half
listened to
Yeah,
it.
you see that Whipped Cream and Other Delights is being reissued tomorrow?
on picture disc.
Why?
But he, you know what he said? He goes, "This was the title, like the dollar bin title forever."
Yeah, it was.
He said a few years ago, his guy who prices stuff said, "I'm pricing this at $20," and they said,
Oh
"Let's
my
see."
gosh.
And if you find a clean copy of it, that's what it goes for now.
He put it in the bin and it sold. He put another one in the bin. It sold for
Yeah.
$20. Clean copies because they're all dog-eared.
I don't think I've ever listened to that album.
It's
I
actually.
don't think anyone's ever listened to that.
Oh, I'd
I
listen to
have.
it.
It's actually really a really
It's a
good
very
album.
good
It
record.
probably is.
It is a
It
good
is
record.
really good. I listen to it once a year, probably once every
What
couple of
record?
years.
Whipped
Whipped
Cream and
Cream.
Other Delights.
Yeah, Whipped Cream.
He sold so many copies of that, he was able to keep himself still alive and playing at 90 years old.
It's so funny how it's like that and the Baja Marimba Band are these Jewish guys pretending they're Latin guys.
Yeah.
And they're
I
studio.
bet they know what the Festival of Weeks is.
It's
come full
Stylus. Never heard of
I
Festival
thought
of
you said
Weed?
the Festival of Weed.
Stylus. Yeah,
I wonder if the Rev realizes he's caused a minor bump in the prices of ice castles on the used market.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows.
that's interesting.
I'm
No,
still looking for my near mint copy.
I don't have a copy. I've never heard it.
I've got two, but
one.
one's VG and the other I haven't played yet.
Here's the deal. I would like Rev, if you ever decide to get back in the video game, tell us the story on how you found Ice
He
Castle.
is in the video game. He does these shorts on
Well,
Instagram.
no. I
Instagram.
need.
His shorts come up on my feed. They're funny.
Oh,
Okay.
they're good. They're good.
Well,
He had
okay.
a two-parter, just like the last
hold
Mission
on.
Impossible.
I'm wrong. I'll admit it. But Rev, we need a history video. Little Rev was running around and got hit on the head with the Ice Castles album. I really want to know, were you a Robbie Benson fan? One-on-One was your movie, and then this came out? I need to know.
Were you
I have
also
no
into
idea what
the
you're
Ode
talking
to
about.
Billy Joe movie?
Also, there's a movie called Jeremy with the same cast that I think is far
He
superior.
basically
and
played the same
throws his
character
soundtrack.
from 13 to 25.
He did.
Until the Beauty
His
and the Beast.
basketball skills were just better in some movies than others.
All the way up with a hot
Well,
poker.
who produced? Who was executive producer for Ode to Billy Joe the movie?
Well, the guy who directed it was Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah,
He
he was
directed the
wasn't he
movie.
executive producer as well.
Well, he directed the movie Elliot, which is the more creative.
Did you celebrate the?
I think he financed it too, though, didn't he, Rob?
Probably, yeah.
Did you celebrate it?
a wealthy dude from that.
Isn't that pretty much what executive producers do? Is come up with the
No.
money?
Actually, the executive producer title is a ceremonial title.
Yeah, you get an extra cut, basically.
No, you
Now,
don't. I mean, maybe you do, but it's
Sometimes
really
you get that
ceremonial.
instead of a cut.
What do
Okay,
you call
so
the guy
maybe-
that comes up with all the money?
That's
Producer.
the
Well,
producer.
there are various different producers, but typically one of the producers might be the money person.
The guy he keeps finding investors.
So when you see movies today and watch the opening credits, typically there are 3 to 5 production companies. They all come together with money.
with money,
not-
okay.
They're all usually the money.
Elliot,
But
did you
executive
celebrate?
producers it's a
Did you
ceremonial
celebrate-
title.
Did you celebrate the song 2 days ago?
What's
It was the 3rd of June.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I should have put the album on.
yeah, the 3rd of June.
All right, I'm going to inject some new blood into this conversation. I got this record this week that is I'm really enamored with. It's blowing my mind. It's this pop star named Ano. Probably never heard of her. Some of the younger people in the audience might have. She was a Japanese idol singer, and she has that kind of like cutesy Japanese idol voice, but her music is like experimental. She can scream. She plays guitar. She came out with this solo album like 2 years ago, and they released it on a record store day. It's a triple fold out. And man, if you just listen to more than one song of her, nothing sounds the same, and it's all creative and interesting. There's interesting textures going on. She's got she does have like more poppy stuff, like poppy choruses, and then she's got some songs that sound like punk songs. In a lot of ways, she reminds me of the U.S. artist Poppy. I don't know if any of you listen to Poppy at all.
Any like Kate Bush connections at all?
No, she's younger. She's like 25.
Well, I not no age wise, yeah.
What's her
Yeah,
name?
her name is Ano, A-N-O. And you can stream. She just released a new album, actually, I think 2 days ago, and you can stream it on Apple Music or anything. But this is the album that came out, her first solo album that came out in 2023. They're both really good. And she's got like live videos online you can watch. She's an incredibly eclectic artist. She makes really artsy music videos. But I mean, Mazzy, I agree with you. I think there's a Kate Bush connection in that she has this kind of like, she's one of the rare female singers that has this like artistic vision where she's in control of the whole process. She's writing the songs, everything like that. So in that way, she is like Kate Bush, but the music doesn't sound anything like her.
Okay.
What do you mean by Japanese Idol? Is that like a TV show in Japan?
She is like an idol singer in Japan is like a big, what we call a pop star. So like think of like our top 40 artists here in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a question from a young go-getter for you, Michael.
Lamp? I don't know who that is.
Hey, stop asking stupid questions, Fluffy. No one knows the answer to this.
Yeah, so Kent, listen more than 30 seconds or listen to more than one song, because there's a really wide variety of sounds in her music that I think is really interesting. I think what's cool is that she takes a blueprint of like super sugary pop music and uses that to explore different sounds and different kinds of music.
You know,
Hey, Eric. Hey, and this is to everyone. I'm here to make money, but apparently the commercials annoyed everyone. So everyone, please, occasionally throughout the day, click on the stream and let it play through a commercial. Thank you.
hey, I want to talk about, you talk about streaming. What's great about streaming in your car or whatever, you can kind of get an idea musically what something is. And that it's totally true. And I respect that. I don't know, a month ago, I listened streaming to this Mark Pritchard, Tom York album that just came out. I'm a big Tom York fan. I like Smile, like his solo stuff, obviously Radiohead. People like his voice or don't. People go hot and cold with the solo stuff. And I listened to it and I thought, it seemed just as like lie there. It wasn't anything good. And then I was in Easy Street and I think I had $30 credit for some stuff. And I ended up buying this. This is the expanded art version of it with the book. You don't need to get the art version. It was kind of on a whim, and I brought it home. And I tell you, it was like day and night. It was, it's probably a digital recording, but it was so dynamic. It's so good. And the music was so much better than what I had heard just sampling it through my laptop and not through my stereo and through a streaming thing. So sometimes, we don't always give music chances. You do a little snippet, you go through tracks. But this is a good example where vinyl adds something to the emotion of it, I guess. So,
well, two things about this, Mazzy. First, can you buy that album without the elaborate box and shit?
Yes, I said that. You don't have to go.
So you buying that elaborate shit was more as a collector, not a music.
Yeah, well, for me, I like art packages too. So art is I do collect art. Yes.
Okay. And secondly, to speak to your point, when I went to that chat event a couple weeks ago, I had streamed the Miles Davis Birth of Blue record he put out and go, this is good, but I'm not going to get it. But after going to the event and him playing it, I'm going, wow.
All the difference, hearing it on a decent system can make a difference on a song, because otherwise it's more passive listening, I think. That's why I like vinyl more, because I'm fine with CDs.
I don't think it's a honestly, I'm going to be firm. This is my new stance. It's not a competition between streaming and vinyl. Yeah. It's not. But
it definitely I have some records that I was able to get into the music more from vinyl or from a good pressing. I mean, you look at does anyone know that album Herbie Hancock did in Japan, Butterfly?
Yes.
Yeah. So recently.
Yeah, but it's not. It's someone else's record, right?
Yeah, it's Kimiko Kasai. I had the reissue of this album. I actually bought it when I went record hunting with Paul Baraka P. Dub in Houston. And I had the reissue, and it was cool. It was a cool record. Recently, I got the original pressing on CBS from Japan, and man, this thing sounds incredible. It made me get into the music and get into her voice a lot more, and I could hear more texture and Herbie's playing. It made me want to sit down and listen to the album more than the older pressing.
Now, how much of a better experience is the original Japanese than the reissue? Isn't the reissue a Japanese reissue, or is it a US?
No, it's a Western reissue.
It's a Western.
It's a digital remastering. I think it's a pretty good digital remastering, but the original CBS, man, just it has a thump to the bottom end that you don't get on the reissue. And it's not expensive. I think I paid like $45 for this. Yeah.
I wonder though, I have X amount of dollars invested in vinyl playback, and I have 1/50th of that invested in digital playback. I'm just wondering, what if I invested a lot more in DACs and shit like that and streamers? Would it approach, or would it even surpass what I'm hearing on vinyl? That
hasn't been my experience.
I've talked to one person who told me, who's deep into the audiophile world. He sells cable, and he said, "Jim, I've got this DAC, man. I'm getting rid of. I can't listen to vinyl anymore." He goes, in order to do better, I would have to spend $100,000 on a turntable to do better. What I'm listening.
Jim, you have heard a $20,000 DAC at my setup.
Yeah,
you have listened to a $20,000 DAC. I loved it. It was great. It didn't beat my turntable.
No, it didn't. But maybe it's the wrong DAC. I don't. I'm just saying. I don't want to be a victim of Dunning-Kruger. I don't know what the hell.
Oh, here's the deal. And Patrick witnessed this firsthand. Jim is what I call a guy who's never satisfied by his setup. He is actually the best example for me that I should be satisfied with what I have. Never, ever satisfied with your setup. And here's the funny thing. Jim had his setup, and he was so proud about how he set it up. Patrick comes in and goes, "You did," and he made Jim change it, and it sounded better. So,
it sounded horrible. When we got there, he's like, "Oh, well, this preamp's messed up." I'm going, "Then why is it in your chain?"
Because I was playing with it. I thought I had just fucking taken it apart, squirted the shit out of it, and when you crank the volume pot, sometimes it would get good, and I just haven't, So
I sit there. I literally in 5 seconds, I was like, going, "This doesn't sound good." I mean, it didn't sound good.
Do not have a preamp.
So what did you do, Patrick?
I didn't do anything. No, he went to the deckware and bypassed the piece of shit one. So it was
the
like
deckware's got a built-in preamp.
What preamp were you using?
A Harman Kardon Citation 1.
Oh, you still have that Citation? Yeah, I mean, it's
65 years old, and I took it to the most famous repair guy in Los Angeles.
Oh, I know. I've heard that preamp. Yeah.
And he gave it back to me and said, "Sometimes you just have to let it go, Jim." I talked to him 2 days ago, and he said he'd put a new potentiometer in it, and they can be phenomenal. But
Jim, I got to tell you, if you're having preamp woes, you got to check out these Backert Labs preamps. I'm reviewing this
like $6,000, right?
Well, the base one starts at $5,000. You can get a basic one for $5,000.
It's still
these things are, and they're easy on the tubes too. They just take two 12 AU7s, and they'll last like 10 years. I've got some vintage.
Is that a Bellari?
No, they're Raytheons.
I would have to trade them. I would have to trade them in that.
Yeah, I mean they're cool, and they got used models floating around on the secondary market. You can pick up for like $3,000 or so.
You like that one though, huh?
Just Steven.
I'm strongly considering keeping it.
Wow.
Michael, I actually went to a Japanese pressing only store in LA.
Oh, you
actually knew some of the city pop people on the wall. I was like, "Oh, wait, I know those people now." I was like, "I am aware of that." So
hold on. And Patrick, what record did you buy that Michael had touted?
Oh, the Flower Traveling Band? That one?
Yeah.
It was
He bought that off the wall.
It was
there,
like the
Mike.
third record. I think.
Was it
Oh, is
the
it-
the gatefold?
Was it the?
It's got the black cover. I think.
Is it the gatefold?
Oh, made in. Well, here, let me grab them.
Someone just posted. There's a rumor at 9:00 West Coast time. Talking Heads are going to announce a reformed tour, maybe.
They all hate each other. Well, or they all hate David Byrne.
But to be fair, for the last 2 years, those motherfuckers have been touring together, showing Stop Making Sense.
Yeah, they've been.
Well, he's looking for.
All right,
that,
you tell me which one you bought.
Not that one. No. Not that one. No. I already have that one. Not that one. No. Not that one. No. It's a black cover. That one right there. That one right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, this is.
So I listened to it. It was really good.
Yeah, and that's actually not. I would say that's probably my least favorite record of theirs, but it's still a good record. They're a great band.
Hey Kent, Oasis.
Did you read?
Back and they hate each other too.
Oh, sorry,
Hey,
Nancy.
Can I state something that I just went through? Okay, I have 2 records here I want to show. So I picked up while I was with Patrick at the Japanese store this 1964 pressing of Mal 1. That sounds excellent. And then while I was with Patrick at another store, I found this 1969 reissue of Tommy Flanagan Overseas. Chad reissued it. It's a mono record. I don't think it ever was recorded in stereo. And an original of this is $1 billion. So at the top of this, it came out in 69. This album has been electronically remastered for stereo. First, and then on this one, this record was recorded as mono, and it says stereo right there. Okay. I listened to both of these records. They are mono. They are not stereo. And in fact, on this one, which will be in the next auction, Van Gelder's name is in the Dead Wax Rich. And if he never recorded it in stereo and name is in the Dead Wax, he didn't electronically remaster it. These are mono. Bullshit.
I think there was a process called. I could be wrong and correct me, but there was a CSG process that would take like a mono recording and flip the phase, so that it would allow mono recordings to have a stereo field, or vice versa, to have a stereo recording to sound better on mono. It was called the CSG. If you look on something like Cream Wheels of Fire has it. I think the first Neil Young has it. If you and some of the, I think there's some 45s you could look at. It'll say CSG on it, and it was a process where they flipped the phase. So I have an auction on Saturday, and everyone always says I sell the same shit. So I'm going to show a handful of weird shit that if you think that
he's coming in here to promote an auction. I am.
Well, I said I'm a full-on grifter. I already admitted it. See right there.
So, full-on grifter.
Yep. See, I don't even know who the hell this person is, but yeah, there's that.
You know what? It'd be fair to say what these records kind of go for.
Well, there's a price on.
That's a dated cover.
Yeah. So.
These are weirdo records that go for a lot of money. They're probably very rare.
The entire musical work of Marcel Duchamp. So
Duchamp.
So the very first Jerry Jeff Walker, Mr. That's the most normal one in this whole batch. Penguin Cafe Orchestra. I don't know who the hell this is.
That's good.
Yeah. So and here is Good Mother Obaton. So there's some weird stuff, man. I don't even know who this is. Philip Glass, I think.
Which Philip Glass? What label is that on?
It is. Yeah, it's Philip Glass. It's on Chatham Square, the same one that Richard Landry's on.
Oh.
And here is this is Harold Budd with Brian Eno, Pavilion of Dreams. So I think that's ECM.
I know that's desirable. I know that.
Prison work songs. Sorry.
Yeah, can you hum some of those for us, Elliot, from your days?
I think Jim is on that.
That's be one I would want.
Analog Productions.
I was in jail, not prison.
Yeah.
What label is the present songs on?
It's on Louisiana something.
That Terry Riley is a good record.
Yeah,
you wouldn't like it.
Louisiana Folklore Society. Here's the Terry Riley.
How much you want for it?
Is that Columbia?
It'll be in the auction, Elliot.
All right.
This is a Psychic TV. I don't know what that is. This is just a little bit of.
Hold on. Actually, I have that record.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good free jazzy record.
Yeah, so
Patrick
that's
just
just a
showed.
sampling of the kind of stuff. There'll be some normal stuff in there, but most of it's going to be weird shit.
And to be fair, I gave Patrick some shipping boxes, and he's nice enough that he's sending me the soundtrack to Dr. Detroit, which I watched yesterday and still holds up very well with Dan Aykroyd. And it has the theme song's Devo. It's actually a really good Devo song. And then he said to me another record, I think.
Yeah, I think Humble Pie is the only one that I really know. Well, I know Jerry Jeff Walker. Most of that shit I don't know. It's from the collection that I bought, and so the auction's Saturday at 1:00 my time Pacific. So this is the only time I will do a Saturday auction. I think I don't want to step on Rob's toes, but I have a.
Well,
I'm selling at a record show on Sunday. So
probably do an auction in 2 weeks. So I'll let everyone will know.
And the records that were potentially lost from LA have now been found and are making their way to me. So,
and here's the deal: Patrick probably bought over 100 records, maybe more.
No, I bought.
Did you?
I bought like 90, I think.
Did you find anything else at Boogie
That's
Mara
about
besides
100.
that Our Traveling album?
Yeah, I found. What else did I get? I found I have to wait till I don't even know
bought
what I bought.
I think you bought 5 records there.
Yeah, I did. You know, I did okay there.
Hey,
yeah.
dude,
If I want to go back, I really want to try hunting for more Third Blind Mice stuff.
So
I bet he has some.
Michael, he installed a listening booth.
Yeah,
like a
that's
high-end
why.
listening booth.
Yeah, really nice, really nice.
Really nice
booth.
that you go in and listen. And he
Yeah,
had a bargain.
he's an audiophile. Yeah,
he had a bargain bin, and it wasn't crappy records. And I bought this. If no one, I've shown this before, like the 70s issue. This Teddy Charles Tentet from the 50s is like an avant-garde jazz record. It is really good. If you ever see this, buy this. I bought this there.
I don't typically buy to immediately sell. I usually buy stuff and record it or rip it. But there's some stuff that I'll buy that I've already had. That if I know people want it, I'll pick it up for sure. You know, if I bought a,
When you're listening
bad company,
at home,
I bought a
Patrick,
bad company self-titled.
Do you
UK
listen to your rips or do you listen to your vinyl?
Well, right now, if I'm recording it, I'll listen to the vinyl. But if I was going to just have a listening session, I don't even have. Well, this one I can play through speakers. But my main system downstairs isn't even hooked up to speakers. It goes right to digitizing. So because that's really what I do. So
Right.
That's my thing. And I still have a handful, about a couple of your records, Michael, to go. But that's about it.
Yeah,
We're
I
almost
think
done.
there's some lunacy left there.
Yeah, they're right here in this Michael section here.
I'd like to show a record at the proper moment, Rob.
Hold on. You had plenty of time to show records, Elliot. It's Patrick's time to shine.
I'm done. I'm done showing records.
I thought Patrick was through. I'm sorry.
This is Harry level rudeness.
Yeah, it is Harry level rudeness.
If Patrick's not through, I step away.
Show your stupid record, Elliot.
Rob,
this aggression will not stand.
Berating your guests. It's really
this is the second volume. John Hartford's family, going through his stuff after he passed away, found hundreds of fiddle tunes that he had written over the years that had never been recorded. And his daughter started a project where she was bringing in musicians and they were recording. They were taking those tunes, they were working them out, taking the tunes he had on paper, but had never recorded. And they've done volume 1, which I've already got. And I just got volume 2 in a couple of days ago. This is called Jula Bell, the John Hartford Fiddle Tune Project, volume 2. And of course, there's John, and it's by his daughter, and really nice, inexpensive. I think $30 for this record, and it's 3 sides. It's 2 records, something on only one side of the second record. But highly recommended to hear what was going on in his head musically, which he never recorded. So.
I'm pretty sure I went through my records faster than Elliot went through his.
Yeah, and you know what? I can honestly say I don't think I own one record that has the word fiddle tunes in it.
Oh, come on!
This could be your first, Rob.
Yeah, now's your chance.
And to Elliot's credit, I believe Elliot stopped taking anything I say loudly or derogatory seriously. Maybe shortly after he met me there virtually.
Exactly.
Jim, you weren't here. The records have been found and the route for delivery. It's so weird how the tracking information didn't even update until it got to where I am for 2 of them. One of them it updated like where you said it's San Clarita, but the other the 2 big ones, they didn't even show up until today where it says out for delivery. So the whole trip up there, they didn't even
Patrick,
show
you
up.
know what I think happens with my experience when you send bigger boxes of records? Because they're typically scanned through whatever mechanical means they process the boxes. Those don't get scanned until they're out for delivery or even in where they end up. That's my experience sometimes.
It could be they didn't want to bother holding those fucking heavy boxes.
And actually,
I would blame them for that.
When you get the boxes, Patrick, I would check if they're brownie stains on the label.
I was going to open the box, but I figured it's private property. And I wasn't going to do that, and I did not open his boxes and look inside. They were sealed.
He did cop to that. He did cop to that at his place after he tried to sneak the thing in there.
Yeah, I tried to pass the hot potato along.
Mac Davis in there. So there was a
I was having
show that Michael might be able to tell me about. It's like Bronca Symphony or something like that.
Now, I want to say one thing about Patrick, and I believe historically I've sung Patrick's praises specifically in learning from him. But after going out digging with him, it's like, dude, he's what I want to be. Because I spend my days going through these same bins and not point out a record to see what he sees. It's really
the same thing. I could say the same thing about the jazz stuff. You go through that section I don't even go to, and you start pulling stuff.
I understand it, but I know that bag company. You see that all the fucking time, but you never pull it out to know that it's a pink label. It's Island.
There are certain albums that I always do that. Like I'll check inside of the Paul McCartney Ram because one time it actually was a mono. So I still do it. I'll pull it out. I'll look at like Crosby, Stills and Nash. I'll look for the -F in the dead wax because that's one sounds so different. There's certain ones that people know about. Yeah. No, the Couch album. The Couch album. So -F on both sides, and that's the one you want. So there's just little things that I remember over the years. So it's so stupid. So I can't remember people's names sometimes, but I was watching that Pee Wee Herman documentary last night, the one Becoming Pee Wee, where he was on the Gong Show. And so he actually won the Gong Show, and I said, yeah, he won $516.32, I think it was. So I looked it up, and that's actually how much they won. And how the hell I remember that after all those years, I have no fucking clue. But I remember the amount of money people won on the fucking.
That documentary was sad. Boy,
it was.
I've only watched part 1. I haven't seen part 2.
What? That whole documentary is excellent. But one thing I didn't realize is most of the people on the Gong Show were groundlings from the improv troupe.
I didn't know either, but I was watching it. I was like going, holy shit, how many times was he on there? You know,
a lot. That's who they put on. And it's like professional wrestling, the Gong Show. Come on.
Yeah.
The winner's determined.
Well, what do you expect from a CIA agent, you know?
So Patrick, what is that record you're going to show?
I couldn't find it. It's somewhere around here. It was called Bronca Symphony or something like that. Oh, here I found it. Wait, here it is. Here it is, right here. Bronca Symphony No. 3, Gloria, music for the first 127 intervals of the harmonic series.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, me neither.
Hey, here's a funny thing.
It looks like some possibly serialist music.
Glenn Bronca Symphony No. 3, Gloria.
Thurston Moore plays on that.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a live stream going through everything. I'm gonna be
minimalist, avant-garde.
I wonder, Patrick. I haven't heard many updates from you from the last batch of.
Glenn Bronca. I have that.
If anything tickled your fancy.
I'd have to go back and look. There was one the one you corrected me on was pretty cool. The pub thing. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
one.
they were like Bowie were like the new way. They were like the first, not the first, but there was this period of Japanese music where it was all like jazz, funk, pop, singer idols, things like that. And Bowie came onto the scene as like they were like the '80s rock band in Japan. I mean,
I did pick up some. I picked up some Bow Wow, Bow Wow, whatever the Japanese hard rock metal band.
Oh, I don't know them.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, I would imagine, I'm sorry I didn't mention this before, that Tom Rashawn would probably know. Tom, do you know most of those records Patrick showed?
Yeah,
I think
don't
know most of those.
Rob was supposed to take me and show me your picture, Tom, but he didn't take me there. So.
We went to Cuba, and they have a montage of Tom Rashawn on the wall there.
Yeah, I didn't see the montage of Tom Rashawn, but I did see the montage of George Strait and every other country guy at the lesbian restaurant.
Lesbian breakfast store.
Breakfast joint. That was good.
It was good, really, really. All right, I got a meeting in 8 minutes, so
yeah.
So I just wanted to full on grift here and like make sure I become possibly a subject for tonight's live stream by you know who. Maybe one of those two stellar people on his panel will comment about me. So yeah.
Well,
but
I want to say, Patrick,
hear that, Chance?
I want to say that Patrick advised me on my cart setup with my settings for my preamp, and it's worked perfectly for that 95 ml cart, and I appreciate it, Patrick. I would have had no idea.
I do know microline, so that's my thing. So.
Yep, I had no idea what to set.
And now you're going on the ultrasonic train.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm sold on it, but it's an interesting alternative.
I have no problem with you, Chance. It's some of the people you associate.
Yeah, not with you,
That's
Chance.
Okay. That's okay.
Hey, I'm not trying to be different, but I have a problem with you, Chance.
I don't. Wait, who are the? I'm sorry. I'm very out of the loop. Who are the people he associates with? Are we allowed to say, or is it just?
I have to go to a meeting.
Oh, okay.
Rob can tell you if he wants to.
Bye,
what
now? I have to run pretty soon anyway. I'm going to Montreal today.
Montreal.
Nice. Yeah.
For a visit or for
for vacation. It's our blanket leave right now, so
I'm
gonna go enjoy some nice weather, some good food, real seafood that's not frozen.
Sounds like fun.
Wait,
yeah.
Montreal's landlocked.
It's on the seaway.
Okay.
Yeah. Rob, Montreal's an island.
Well, I mean landlocked from the oceans.
Yes,
it's not ocean.
It is a major port.
There's a lot of water that's not ocean waxed.
Well, I understand.
Great Lakes.
My understanding of Montreal without ever being in Montreal is it's not the bastion of seafood.
I used to think Seattle was on the coast.
Really
I used to think Seattle was on the coast. I didn't realize it was Puget Sound decades ago.
Yeah, but but every ships go in and out of there.
Yeah, the cruise ships do. Yeah, it's like the San Francisco Bay, only
Montreal style bagels, smoked meats, people peeing off buildings to celebrate their erection.
What?
There's a story I always heard that when they put up a new building to christen it, people pee off the top of it. That's an urban myth that I heard about.
Michael,
I lived there. I've never heard that before.
Michael, someone's asking, are you in the parade this month?
The Pride Parade?
I don't think that's
the military parade.
I think
what military
Trump's birthday parade.
Oh, hold on. Joseph is a nice guy. Joseph is a nice guy.
I can't tell if
come in with that. I'm sure he's making a joke about Trump's military parade.
June 13th,
no,
I believe it is.
I think I am playing. I don't know if he's. It's still unsure yet if he's coming to Mount Rushmore this summer. But we're playing Mount Rushmore for the 4th of July.
Isn't he dedicating his head up there?
The views I express are my own views.
Yeah, I know you can't.
Blah, blah, blah,
Just stay away from it, Michael. Just stay away.
Wait, Michael, we know you're visiting Montreal for the awesome seafood it offers, but you're really going to go record shopping, right?
I'm going to go to the only store The only store I'm definitely going to go to is the one I always went to, which is Out 33 Tour. That's like the good. That's the really good record store in Montreal, in my opinion.
What body of water is Montreal? Is it the Hudson Bay or
St. Lawrence Seaway?
St. Lawrence
river. Well, at that point, it's a river, but the island of Montreal is in the river, and the river is expanding to become the Seaway. So even though it's a river, it's very easy for ocean ships to get into Montreal.
It emptying into the Hudson Bay?
No, it empties into the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it empties into.
I mean, Montreal's right above.
What, Niagara Falls?
No, it's closer to Niagara Falls, and Toronto, right, is more closer to that. But what is Montreal right above?
Montreal is about an hour and a half north of Burlington.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought it was more Detroit, but what's that area?
That's Windsor.
Windsor,
yeah. Yeah, geography.
Which is not a bastion of seafood.
I don't know.
I don't think
very
so.
well.
You all have a wonderful morning.
Have a nice trip.
Wow, where's Harry?
He's interrupting someone.
All right.
Oh, okay. Well,
Elliot, anything else I can make? We have 4 minutes left. Anything else I can make fun of, Elliot, that you have?
There's always something there. You go ahead. Oh, I adjusted my contrast. Did that help my picture any?
looks good.
No.
Looks good.
Yeah, you're fine.
It's washed out. There's no color really. It's very monochromatic.
So I darkened it. I thought that would fix it.
No, it looks good. I think it's because you have fluorescent lights, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we see, that fluorescent. That's the color balance of those lights, the color temperature, I should say.
Dan mentioned something about watching my repairing dual turntables videos. I appreciate him watching, but I will say that's an amateur person working on those duals, not a professional. So keep that in mind when you watch.
You know, it's a fun thing. I bought a AR turntable. You know the ARs?
Yeah.
Elliot?
Yes.
And you can get the kits, and I rebuilt it myself. It wasn't that hard.
It's fun.
That was fun. That was fun.
I think that's one difference between they talk about whether there's going to be a CD revival or not. In the long term, I don't think there is, because those CD players and DVD players are going to break over the next 20 years or so. They're going to, and when they were making massive quantities of them, you could make them pretty cheap, but because your scale's so much smaller in the future, they require some earth metals and stuff like that to make them. It's going to be very costly to make them and to be able to repair them.
Well, the new ones are in excess of $1,000 now.
Yeah.
Most.
And a turntable,
I bought one for $300. No.
Yeah, but basically a turntable is nothing more than a little motor to spin a platter and a wire running to an arm to a needle to set it on there. It's not that complicated, and
how can you idiots make it harder than it is?
And a bird with a beak. And a bird with a beak.
Yep,
right.
That's it.
Now, Elliot, you do such a good job of explaining stuff to us. Can you explain the phenomenon of Nashville hot chicken, please?
I don't know that one. I know chicken and waffles got real popular, and I can understand that because syrup on anything is really good. And just think about syrup on fried chicken, how good that would be.
Awesome.
But what is Nashville hot? Is that with waffles or not?
My was a joke, Elliot. Don't take it too seriously.
Rich, there is some truth to that.
I'm the straight man, Rob. I'm the straight man. Come on. Oh, but the reason I know about your Festival of Weeks, guys, that y'all don't know about,
right,
is because Sunday is Pentecost.
And
well,
hold on. When you got no reaction out of a Jewish holiday, do you think you're going to get one out of a Christian holiday?
Well, the
Were
reason
you guys
is
a bunch of Messianic Jews or something?
here's what it was. Everybody had gathered in Jerusalem from different places to celebrate the festival, and that's when the disciples and the other followers were gathered in Jerusalem waiting for guidance. Jesus had already ascended, and he said, "Just wait, and you'll know what to do soon." And that's when they got the message. So that the Holy Spirit entered them, and they knew what to do, and they started speaking in different languages. And because that was there were so many people in Jerusalem celebrating the Jewish holiday that spoke different languages.
Hey,
So
hold-
you
hold-
see, the two holidays
Two-
are tied together.
Two thing also, Dan B, you think you're being funny? Houston has a huge Jewish population, so stop it there. Secondly, Elliot, before we leave today, can you bless Mazzy and hit them in the head with a Bible, please?
No, I never hard sell at all. Never.
So very interesting. Now, did that happen before or after the spaceship went to Titan and they delivered the spare part to the robot from Trafalmador?
I'm
No, we're
not
not
sure
talking about
about the chronological order for all
Sirens
those
of
things.
Titan? Kurt Vonnegut, Sirens of Titan? No?
I love
Then
Kurt Vonnegut
You're
books.
talking, part of that's from Slaughterhouse 5, Trafalmador.
No, that was
Trafalmador is Slaughterhouse 5.
It's also
Is it?
Sirens of Titan. The aliens are Trafalmadorians. They're a race of robots that is so
Well,
ancient.
He uses that also.
Nobody knows who built the first one.
Anybody that hasn't read any Kurt Vonnegut, I highly encourage them to read his books. They're great.
That book explains the meaning of life in a way that I love. The meaning of life, everything that has happened to you and me and all of Earth, is to deliver a spare part to a Trafalmadorian stuck on Titan. What? That works.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate everyone coming by today. Harry, you're always invited. You come back up here. I promise I will only yell at you once. Everyone have a wonderful day. Go to
Enjoy
Patrick
the
Clarkson
visit.
on Saturday.
Everybody.
Y'all take care.
See you next Tuesday. Bye.
Always enjoy your stream, Rod. Always
Thank
enjoy
you,
it.
Elliot.
All right. We'll see.